Good morning. It's Monday. I hope you're doing okay this Monday morning. It's 7:30 on a Monday and you're live with Preston. This is Done Believing. We're moving away from simply believing the truth straight towards knowing the truth, all for the purpose of overcoming delusion. And you were born into a delusional world, like it or not. It's just part of being a human, is being born into an extremely delusional place. Stock video. What the heck is that? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I got some notes over here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to organize them. Hey, got a new question for you this week. Question of the week. And you can answer the question. You can get involved. This is a live show. If you're up in the morning and you're going and your mind is working and you've got all the caffeine in you that you need, please feel free to get involved. You can check me out Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all places you can watch. And maybe in the future, a podcast for audio listeners, people who are going to check it out later. But at any rate, listen to the question and you can respond on here with me or just in your mind. Is it possible to get more than you deserve? I hear that all the time. People are like, oh, I've been blessed with so much more than what I deserve. And I'm just curious because I've thought about this from the other perspective. You get what you deserve kind of attitude. Is it possible to get more than you deserve? And I'll talk about that later in the week. Give my answer at the end of the week. Just because I want to get you thinking. And this is stuff that I like to just think about for myself. I don't go around asking people, hey, tell me the answer to this. The whole purpose is so that you think for yourself and you go, I've never actually thought about that. Okay, well, now's your opportunity to sit there and think about it all for yourself. Hey, so I was thinking this morning, a Bible verse popped in my head. John 3:16. Who can quote that Bible verse? Probably a lot of people. Probably right now you're saying it. For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And it's a good one. It's really good, but here's the deal. I believe, I know that we have heard that Bible verse so many times, and we've seen it at so many sporting events. People just holding up a sign that says John 3:16, and we can recite it. But there's so much more to it that if we don't take the time to step back, put it into our own words, it'll just kind of go right over our head. It just becomes a sort of like Christian mantra that we say over and over and over again, and then it doesn't actually have any real impact in our lives because we just heard it so many damn times. And it's not the fault of the Bible. It's our fault for letting it go. Oh my gosh. Hang on a second. Oh no, my audio is good. I thought my audio was going to be messed up. I had to check that. Anyways, it just goes in one ear and out the other. So I'm going to put it into my own words, my own translation today. Again, just my translation. This is not like, thus saith the Lord. I just want to preface that. This is my interpretation of what I think John 3:16 is. If I wrote my own version of the Bible, the New International Preston version, it would read like this. God sent his Son to tell the world how little they actually know about God. And anyone who thinks they know more about God than Jesus is free to be saved by his own intellect. Good luck. That's what I think. When I read John 3:16 and I think about it, that's the way it sounds to me. God's like, hey, I'm not here to bring you a new religion. I'm here. I sent my Son to demonstrate his relationship with me. A guy who's been there, done that. He's not some guy who just heard about it from somebody else. He actually has a relationship with me, his Father. And I sent him to tell you, and not just tell you, but demonstrate for you. So you can either let go of your ego and listen to what my Son is saying and doing, or You can be judged by your own intellect. You can figure your own way into heaven. Good luck to you. And that that got me started. I was thinking about what Judgment Day will look like. If that is what John 3:16 is actually saying, you can either believe your own intellect to get you into heaven, what you understand about God and his ways, or you can just observe the ways of Jesus and get into heaven. You can have heaven now. If that's what John 3:16 is basically saying to me, it got me thinking about what Judgment Day looks like. And I believe Judgment Day will look a lot like this. Got a video for you. Low resolution because it's a little older. But check it out. Judgment Day. Everything you need to know. It's right here. Mysteries revealed. Right here. Believing with Preston. Check this out.
UCLA for $400.
You're going to love it. Tell your old man to drag this 70s UCLA and Trailblazer center and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes. Kareem?
Who is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
No! You're the one who delivered the line, but it was about Bill Walton.
Oh!
Embarrassing moments on Jeopardy.
Embarrassing moments in the Judgment Day. That's what I mean, man. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Jabbar. Am I saying that right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This guy, he's a basketball player, well-known basketball player from back in the day. I think he's still in basketball. I think he does announcements and stuff like that. Commentary. He's a commentator now. Doesn't play because he's probably too old. But listen, he gave the quote talking about another basketball player. And on a game show, when asked about his own quote, he couldn't even get that right. That's embarrassing moments. And so that's probably what it's going to look like. You get to heaven. It's going to look like Jeopardy. Instead of St. Peter being there, like a lot of people think, it's going to be Alec Trebek. He's going to be there. He's going to give that dumb little interview where he asks you about, so tell us about some embarrassing moment from your college years or something like that. You ever watch the show? That's what happens. They introduce the contestants. The contestants give some type of funny anecdote about themselves. And then the game show moves on. Anyways, so you're going to get to heaven. Instead of St. Peter, it's going to be St. Trebek. He's going to be standing there. He's going to ask you some questions. And they're going to be questions designed to trip you up. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I got this. And boom, you're going to end up, if you're counting on your own intellect to get you in the pearly gates, you're going to look like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar right there. You're going to look like a fool. So it got me to this, to the question of today, not the question of the week, just the question of today. How does God, or how did God, according to John 3:16, how did God view the world? John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son to save the world. So according to that time in God's life, in that time in the history of humanity, how was God seeing humanity? According to that scripture, well, according to that, well, I'll give you the answer, but I've got another way. Was he seeing the world as a bunch of evil sinners who need a new religion to get them in? Well, let's talk about that. Does God see the world as a bunch of evil sinners? I'm sure a lot of people believe that. The wrath of God, the fury of God, sinners in the hands of an angry God. That was a famous sermon delivered by some guy. I don't know. Google it. I can't remember his name. But it doesn't matter. So a common view is that we're just evil sinners and that we all got to just like fall down on our face and just scream, oh, forgive me. But according to John 3:16, that's not what it's saying. It says that he loved the world. And then we get crazy theologies. I don't necessarily disagree with this theology, but it's limited. Hate the sin, not the sinner. You shouldn't hate the sin. That's not a way to overcome sin, by hating it. Because think about that. Did God hate the sin? Nope. He didn't do anything but love. Let's move on. Did God see, according to John 3:16, how did God see the world? Did he see the world as tormented slaves? And I would say yes to that. He saw the world as tormented slaves, human beings who were being tormented by evil, oppressive, demonic spirits and delusions. And here's why I bring that up. It's important for us to change our view of God and how he sees us from, oh, well, I'm just a sinner. You within yourself, you're not a sinner, nor within yourself are you a saint. See, if it goes that way for saints, then it's got to go the same way for sinners. Heaven and hell, good and evil, it's like a big giant equation. Mathematics of the universe. And in an equation, the only way it's true and has truth is if it's equal. It balances out. Whatever's true on this side of the equal sign is true on that side of the equal sign. If it's anything other than that, it's wrong. It's not truth. And the whole point of the show, Done Believing, I want to know the truth. It is possible. So if it's correct that we can't save ourselves, then it's correct that we can't destroy ourselves. And so many people walking around thinking that they are an evil sinner. And if you think that you are an evil sinner, then you're going to look at other people and you're going to see other people as evil sinners. I know that because a lot of pious, religious people of all world religions, not just Christianity, Buddhists are pious, have no humility. There's plenty of Muslims who are pious and have no humility in the way that they see infidels. There's a lot of Christians that think, oh, thank God I made it in. I'm in the kingdom. Sucks to be all of y'all. Jesus is coming back and to destroy y'all. They see themselves as saved out of a fire and better than others. Why? Because their interpretation of John 3:16 is, well, God saw us as evil sinners. And so he gave us the true religion. It's the same for sinners and saints. You didn't save yourself. You don't make yourself a saint, nor do you make yourself a sinner. God sees people as they really are, and that is tormented slaves. You're a slave to an illegitimate master. That illegitimate master, his name is Satan. You're a slave unto evil. You have no choice in the matter but to do the will of your master. It's the same for Christians. Christians are like, oh, it's not me. I didn't do that good deed. It was God in me. It's not me who lives. It's Christ that lives through me. Christians can quote those scriptures all the time. But it doesn't actually make it from their head to their heart to really shape the way that they see God and see others and see themselves, how they're viewing the world. You should view the world through the eyes of God, and that is, you're a slave. You are either a slave to God or a slave to Satan. The concept of free will, it's extremely simple. It's extremely simple. You're not making choices for your life every single day. You're not in control of your life every single day. You get one choice. Who's my master going to be? Am I going to believe into my thoughts and my intellect? Or am I going to believe, or am I going to doubt those things? And am I going to observe? There you go. There's the 50-50. There's the two choices. You can either believe that you know what to do, or you can just observe and see what happens and learn something. Which brings me back around to Jeopardy and John 3:16. You can either think that you know more about God than Jesus does, and then you can go wager your soul in Final Jeopardy. How much will you wager? Your entire eternal soul. You can go wager it. Or you can admit, I don't know anything. I don't know what heaven looks like. Well, I do know what heaven looks like. It looks like every day is better than yesterday for eternity. And hell is the contrast of that. But as far as flames or clouds or halos or horns, pitchforks or harps, don't know any of that. I have no concept of any of that. Everything I have was given to me by somebody else. So I need to ditch the intellect and go with something else. And here's the choice we have. The only choice you've got: who's going to be your master? Who is your master going to be? After you make that choice, you're no longer in control. You're on a rail. It's like being at an amusement park. For me, growing up around Houston area, it was Astro World. Remember Astro World back in the day? If you grew up around here, you'll remember they had those cars, old-timey cars that you could get in. Put, 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 put. And you could steer it. Yay, but you were on a guide rail. So you could steer to the left a little bit. Boom, you'd hit the rail. You could steer to the right a little bit. Boom, you'd hit the rail. No matter what you did, you're on a track. It feels like you have some wiggle room, like you're actually steering this thing, but you're not. You're not. The only part that you play is how jarring of a ride you want to have. Do you want to be bouncing back and forth, or do you want to have a nice smooth ride, in which case you simply submit to the track laid out in front of you? You can either choose the path of the intellect, in which case you will have to prove that you know more about God than his own son, and you'll be judged according to your own intellect. Or you can choose God, which is, I don't know anything about you. You're going to have to teach me. Isn't that the Garden of Eden? Isn't that the whole concept of the analogy of the Garden of Eden? Whether you believe it was true or you think that it's an allegory or whatever, it doesn't matter, because here is the heart of the story. There's knowledge. You can either go get that knowledge for yourself and think that you've got knowledge and intellect, or you can wait, be patient, and grow in relationship with your Creator, in which time he will teach you everything you need to know. That's the two choices. That's how I can confidently say, I'm done believing. I want to know. Enough of this. Faith and believing is a great starting point. There's certain things I still only believe, but there's a lot of stuff I actually know. Think what you will about me, doesn't matter, but there are things that I actually know. And there is a way to go down a path that you can learn and you can know things. No one else can know it. You can't prove it to anybody else. It's yours. But I'm going to end with this. You've got two choices: intellect or humility. What's it going to be? Are you going to walk humbly and learn something? And then when you get to heaven and you're on the judgment day of Jeopardy, and you're wagering your soul. Actually, we're already on the show. Your soul is in the balance. Would you rather be on Jeopardy, in which case you just got to go off of your own intellect? Or would you rather be on, like, I don't know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Remember that show? You had 3 lifelines: phone a friend, ask the audience, 50-50, I think it was. You had some help. And the only way that a person would use those 3 lifelines is if they admitted, I don't know the answer to this damn question. Isn't that humility? I don't know a damn thing about God, really. We're talking about an infinite being in an infinite universe and all these mysteries. I have no damn clue about that. I'm going to have to learn. Or, no, I already know everything I need to know. Thank you very much. I'm ready for the final round. You're going to get screwed hard. You're going to look like old boy in the video, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think he changed his name. He ain't even got enough sense to go by his birth name. He had to change it. He's a Muslim, I think. You can check me on that. That's it. We're going to end there. You're going to rely on your intellect, or are you going to go humbly? You're going to admit that you don't know jack diddly squat so that you can actually learn something, or are you just going to stay in your ignorance? Ugh. Amazing. And so many people, because of the ego, they'll end up burning in hell. They're already in hell. It's just a damn shame. And don't worry about the lake of fire. If hell is everything worse than yesterday for eternity, if Monday is the lake of fire, I don't want to know what Tuesday is. Holy smokes, make me want to cuss. Hey man, we'll catch you back tomorrow, Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. for Done Believing.